Welcome back, my dear students and parents who are watching this program. The program My Teacher, it's the live classroom of UAE, and we were going through the contents of grade 11, especially the contents mechanics. Okay, I just explained one of the questions which are in fact relating the equations of motion. Okay, so I've been telling about this only. You have to keep on practicing a lot of questions in a maximum possible numerical problems, basically because then you will be more used to with the contents you will be and relate with whatever you are seeing around. So many questions if you are able to come across, surely you will be more thorough with the contents. Okay, so don't keep those things aside. Okay, so such questions. Okay. Another area where you might have done by now in the school is the case of vectors. I'll just show you a small simulation that will explain how vector quantities can be added. So by the way, what is vector quantity? It has got magnitude and direction. The size is there and it has a specific direction as well. You know, all of you must be aware of different types of vector quantities, and also you know time is not a vector quantity, it is rather a scalar quantity. You know, displacement is vector because it can become zero. So time cannot be zero or time cannot be negative, isn't it? If time was negative, it is very good. No, suppose if yesterday we had a very good movie, we had seen a very good movie, and if time was negative, again you can see that, no, right? If we are able to go back, it's not possible, right? It's because time is a scalar quantity, but velocity, displacement, acceleration, all these quantities are vector quantities. So time is scalar. So time is a scalar quantity, right? Now, if vector quantities are there together, we will be able to find out the resultant. You know, the resultant of different vector quantities we find using various rules. You might have studied parallelogram law of vectors, one of the rules. Then we have triangle law of vectors, then polygon law, all these laws you might have studied. So I'll just show you how to combine two vectors and their resolution also. Resolution, when we say, when a single vector is there, it can be considered as consisting of two vectors. You know, the x component and y component. This part is highly useful in getting into a concept called projectile motion, which also you may be doing or sometimes you might have done already in the school. Just have a look at the vector concept. Just look at this. You see, this is representing a vector quantity. So the size of the vector quantity is represented by the length of this line, and you know, I'm adjusting the size. You know, that is, I'm adjusting the magnitude. The magnitude is adjusted, and the direction also is changing. You can see how much is the angle it makes with the horizontal, with the x-axis. Right, with the x-axis, how much angle it makes, you can see on the simulation. You can see on the screen 52.1 degree is the angle it makes with the x-axis. But what about this Rx and Ry? Rx and Ry are the two components, you know, x and y components that can be shown. You know, if it is drawn like this, see what I showed now is the components of this vector. Okay, this vector is, the red one is the actual vector that is resolved into two components. Okay, if you don't want to see the components, just leave it like that. It's a single vector acting at 52.1 degree. And what is this 11.4? That is the resultant of these two. That is actually the length of this. That means if you consider one more vector, I'm considering one more vector. Okay, just another vector, and I'm taking this as along the x-axis. You can see if a vector is along the x-axis, there is 0 component along the y-axis, you can see. Okay, and another vector. Okay, this is at 90 degree angle. Okay, this is at 0 degree angle. Okay, two vectors. Okay, and the resultant, if you consider, you see, this is this sum, otherwise vector sum of this. You know, when you apply parallelogram law, okay, the parallelogram law, when you apply, we are considering it like this. You know, this is the resultant. Okay, this is showing the parallelogram law. If it is, let's say, what this is actually, this is the help, what you say, we are finding the resultant with the help of triangle law. We say we can consider it like this. This is one vector, this is the second vector, and this is the resultant of both. Okay, so this is how the vector concept is. Once again, I'll show you one more thing. One more time, I'll show you this one. This is one vector. Okay, this is one vector which is, say, if I suppose this much magnitude this vector has. So it can be resolved into components. Components can be shown like this. See, these are the components. Okay, and the resultant, in terms of resultant, if we say, you can draw it like this. This is how you find this is how you apply triangle law. Okay, so this is the sum is simply shown like this. Okay, this is it. So that's about vector quantities. See, this vector quantity can be used to explain the concept of projectiles. You know, projectiles concept is really an important thing, that is like an object thrown from height. In many ways, in many places, we make use of the concept of projectiles. That is a projectile. I will just show you what is a projectile. See, you can see it on the screen. You watch it on the screen. So I am going to project here. That is, this object which is thrown from a height, okay, so at an angle is what I see. You can see on the screen 57.4 degree is the angle it makes with the horizontal. Initial speed I am going to fire is 18, mass of the object is 2, okay, and now you see, if I fire, this is how you have noticed, correct? So once again I will show you. So I am adjusting the angle further. Suppose it is adjusted to this, more angle is there, that is 68.2 now. Okay, if it is 5, you see how it comes like this. Okay, so what we can measure, the measurement that we have for a projectile, that is from the initial point to this point, you know, horizontal, you know, this level, that is, you can even measure. Okay, the measurement you can do with this. Okay, so this measurement will give you the horizontal range. Okay, this is the horizontal range, and if you do the measurement like this, you know, the vertical distance if you want to measure. Okay, so this distance if you want to measure, this is the vertical height. So this height is the maximum height. Okay, so the terms that we have, 3 terms as far as the projectile motion is concerned, 3 types, 3 terms we have. One is the maximum height, second is horizontal range, and third one is time of flight. Time of flight means the time taken by the projectile to complete its path. So I will just show you a picture also along with that. You see the motion of a projectile. I hope all of you can see this picture. See, initially the velocity, you look at the beginning part, the origin, it has a velocity, right? That is represented by the symbol V naught. Okay, this V naught we can split or resolve into 2 components, V naught y, V naught y, sorry, V naught x, V naught y, right? So it is projected, and what do you observe at this point? Okay, so over here what happens is, it has got V naught x. You look at V naught x, whatever be the value of the horizontal component, same component you will get here as well, and same is on this point, maximum height as well. So the length of the horizontal component, that doesn't change, it remains the same throughout. How about vertical component of the velocity? At the beginning there is maximum, then it keeps decreasing, next is again at the maximum height, what's the velocity, vertical velocity? It is 0, no vertical velocity. As it comes further, the vertical velocity keeps on increasing and becomes again maximum when it comes to the bottommost point, that is the same horizontal level as at the beginning, but one thing is there, initially it was upwards, now it is downwards. That really is a difference. So what you understand from this is the total during the entire motion of the projectile. So when you talk about the projectile motion, show it over here. So during the motion of a projectile, first of all we have to assume, there are some assumptions to be taken into account. So first of all, motion, projectile means something which is, you know, thrown from the surface of the earth. Okay, so at an angle theta. So a point to remember is, projectile is anything which is moving under the free fall or under gravity. Okay, so there are some 3 assumptions we have to take into account while discussing the concepts of projectiles. The first one is, you know, we assume there is no air resistance at all, no air resistance, no opposing force at all. So that is, once after it leaves from your hand, the projectile leaves from your hand, it's just like it's something which is only under one force. What is that force? That is gravitational force. And gravitational force is always acting downwards. That means throughout the motion the projectile has only one acceleration, that is acceleration due to gravity acting downwards. So that means force is always vertically down. That means only the vertical velocity can change. The velocity in this way only can change. But what about the velocity in the horizontal direction? For any velocity to change, there should be a force. Correct? So this velocity can change, vertical velocity can change. Why? Because there is a force downwards. That's why initially vertical velocity is this much. As it goes up, the vertical velocity decreases and becomes 0 at the highest point, and it increases as it comes down. So as far as the vertical velocity is concerned, it is just like a body thrown up, okay, then coming down. So here also the thing is that just look at the once again I will show you the simulation for the projectile motion. Just if it is thrown from a height, just see, this is an example of horizontal projectile. Okay, if it is thrown from a height, just see how it comes. Okay, so what you can make out is at the beginning there is a horizontal velocity. It is given a horizontal velocity, but that velocity doesn't change further. Horizontal velocity will not change, but what happens is initially it was not having any vertical velocity, right? Because it was projected horizontally, there is no vertical velocity. Since there is no vertical velocity, after that, what is, once after leaving from this point, then it is only under free fall, that is velocity will keep on increasing downwards. Okay, velocity will keep on increasing downwards when you project from the height. So as far as a horizontal projectile is concerned, that is what I showed now. Okay, as far as a horizontal projectile is concerned, initially there is a horizontal velocity which will keep remaining the same, whereas vertical velocity initially 0, then it will keep on increasing just like a freely falling object. So if you plot a velocity time graph for horizontal component, we will write it as Vx, horizontal component, that velocity time graph if you plot, what will be the shape of the graph? Because horizontal velocity there is no change, correct? There is, because there is no horizontal force, we assume there is no air resistance. I mentioned this point, 3 assumptions. One assumption, there is no air resistance. Another assumption, the acceleration due to gravity, 9.8 meter per second we said, it is throughout its motion it remains the same. That's one, another assumption. The third assumption is that from whatever the horizontal from the point we are projecting, same level itself it is reaching down and the other end also. That means the surface of the earth should be considered flat. Okay, surface of the earth flat, the acceleration gravity remains constant throughout, and what else is, there is no air resistance, there is no other force other than gravitational force. That's what it assumes. Okay, so horizontal velocity doesn't change, so the velocity time graph will be like this. So the velocity time graph for a horizontal velocity of the projectile motion would be like this. And how about for vertical velocity? For vertical velocity it is just like body thrown up only. So how the velocity time graph for the vertical component? For the vertical component it would be like this. Okay, so velocity time graph for vertical component, initially this much vertical velocity, then it will keep decreasing, okay, to 0, and then it will keep increasing as it comes downwards. So I just gave you a briefing about certain areas of mechanics, which is like coming some from one dimensional straight line motion, the other ones from motion in a plane. But remember, it's a vast area, you should keep doing. And again my appeal to those who are doing grade 11 physics, if any areas you want us to discuss or to explain to you, please let us know by any of these ways, by mail or any means of communication. You let us know so that we will be able to take those contents in the next week. So next week again we will have another session, and till then bye bye, see you again with us with another topic of physics next week. Okay, stay tuned.